Rolo, what about your famous rule, the ick? They will break rules for alphas and they will break rules for alphas and well, make rules for betas. Isn't the alpha enough to compensate the ick and break the ASD, anti-slut defense? Yes, it's true. But again, it kind of comes down to what is the ick. And let me argue one other point here. I think that if a guy is alpha, remember what the chick said in that one video, like if what could that guy do to screw things up? Well, he could trip and fall in front of me. It's interesting that something as mundane as like, oh, I tripped over a root on a trail somewhere, and that's a deal breaker. I don't think it necessarily is so much, and I think it kind of depends on, is that guy like, does he laugh at himself for like doing so? Like, what's the context of him falling down, right? But it shows another point. It kind of plays to a larger dynamic, I think, which is like congruency and how important that is to women right now. Because I would also argue that over the course of the last, say, 20, 22 years, women's standards have gone higher and higher and higher to the point where the guy can be like this apex alpha. He trips on a sidewalk somewhere, and now, you know what? I liked you, but now I'm done. See, I think it's bullshit, honestly. There's a really great article on Heartiste's or Royce's old blog from back in like 2010. And the article was something like, and I'm just going to paraphrase this because I can't remember the title, but the title was something like women's standards crumble like a house of cards or something when, you know, in reality kind of thing. And really what it was about an incident he had at one point with a woman who was stating all of these things that she needed in a guy. These are deal breakers. He's got to be good looking. He's got to have a good job. He's got to love his mom. He's got to be the total package, right? And so she goes in and enumerates all of these lists, this whole list of things, and it ends up being like she ends up getting a boyfriend later on in the essay, and the guy might have like ticked off like 2 or 3 of those things that she said were like deal breakers. And she had something like 12 deal breakers, and the guy might have met 3 or 4. And I would say that the reason why that is because if the guy is attractive enough, it will cover a multitude of sins. You have to remember that the beta buck side of the hypergamous equation are all value added attributes. So what are the necessities and what are the value added attributes? Because if you follow like at least the standard red pill Thomasian you know, hypergamy formula, you have to look at the alpha fuck side before you can look at the beta buck side. I put this out there, and I got this from Royce as well. No, I got it from Pook. Women have no use for beta blue pill aspects. They have no use for the beta buck side of the hypergamous equation anymore. And that was a quote from another, I want to say an article, I think it was on So Suave. And we're talking about like way back in like 2009, 2008. And even as far back as, you know, let's just say 2010, let's round it off. As far back as 2010, guys were already figuring out that women had no use for beta males. They had no use for that shit anymore. They didn't need men. They wanted men. Who did they want? They wanted the alpha. They wanted the guy. They wanted the bodyguard. They wanted the chef, apparently. That they have no use. Marjorie Harvey had no use for parental investment. She already got it. He adopted her kids. No use for the value added aspect, the overwhelmingly over the top beta male, blue pill aspects of hypergamy. She didn't need it. What did she need? A guy who could down. She needed the hot guy in the foam cannon party, spring break, who happened to also be her bodyguard, maybe her personal trainer. This dude, it's this guy right here. Where'd he go? The dude on the left. That's the hot guy at the foam cannon party, and there's Steve Harvey trying to sort of match that. I don't know if that's what you're into, but apparently this is the hotness right here. For Marjorie, it was anyway. Dangerous man.